Shalom, Boker Tov, everyone. Rabbi Eric Solomon in Raleigh, North Carolina. Sunday, April 5th, another little morning Torah. We are a few days for the Passover Seder through Pesach. Today's actually Palm Sunday for my Christian brothers and sisters. Wish them blessings as they enter the Holy Week under unique circumstances too. We'll only have a few morning Torah sessions this week due to the Seders and the holidays, and holding these basically for, quote-unquote, the regular days of the week. And I want to talk this morning about why Maror, the bitter herbs that we eat on Pesach, and specific on Seder, it's a specific mitzvah. There's a blessing said specifically eating the Maror. Why, in my view, that's the most important part of the whole Seder experience. I want to frame it like this. There are those, and I've heard this before, in our own congregation, in our own community, who sometimes say, Rabbi, why is Judaism and this so negative? Some people make a joke about it. A lot of Jewish holidays are, they tried to kill us, they didn't, let's eat. Okay, that's the joke. But the more serious question is, not why should we remember and hold on to so many negative experiences, and starting on Passover, enslavement. Why not emphasize the positive more? And the truth is, our tradition has plenty of emphasizing the positive. It's not like there's no emphasizing the positive in our tradition, but I get it. I mean, the idea that we hold on to these memories of our enslavement or times where we have been attacked or decimated. I mean, everything from contemporary experiences like the Shoah and Holocaust, but going back thousands of years, it's a lot to hold. It's a lot to hold, and that I think is epitomized in the idea of Maror. Maror, mem resh resh, comes from the idea that the Egyptians embittered, mararu, our lives, and that we are supposed to, by eating the bitter herbs we discussed yesterday, me and Rabbi Jenny and our Chavruta during Shabbat morning services, those who were there, we talked about the idea that it's there's two options. One, the Ashkenazi practice, chrein or horseradish, which I grew up with, or the more Mizrahi and other practice to have the bitter lettuce. The idea is to have something bitter, so it really makes you taste bitterness, to remember the bitterness of what we experienced. But it comes back, why do that? Why not just have the charoset, which is the sweet, although it's the mortar, it's sweet. Why should we have such a strong emphasis on the bitter experience? And what I want to say, I really feel like this is it's said in many different ways, but I think The Chosen by Chaim Potok, his famous book that if you haven't read it, it's worth seeing again or watching the movie. The basic setting, it's in Brooklyn, it's post-World War II. The basic point of the book is about this one son of a great Hasidic Rebbe, a rabbi, who is brilliant, is a Talmud scholar, is incredibly cerebral, his intelligence is undeniable. His ability to understand Jewish law, Jewish tradition, beyond. It's clear that he is going to be a natural successor from an intellectual perspective. But his father says, you're not ready to become the rabbi of the community because you lack compassion. That it's not enough to be a person, or I'd say a full human being, by just being smart or being talented or being skilled or even better than everyone else at something. Although that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a blessing. God has given, hopefully, each person a gift of some kind that they can maximize. But that's not enough in the religious, spiritual analysis of what life's about. Life's not just about being great at something skilled. Life's about having that gift, giving that gift, but doing it through a place of compassion. And how do you build compassion? My experience, those that are the most compassionate, those who can actually empathize with others most effectively, are those that have suffered themselves. No one wants suffering. No one's asking for suffering. But when you've experienced suffering, your response is critical. Either I experience suffering, I become embittered, I've had bitterness in my life, I've had the maror, personal maror, and therefore I just do everything I can to protect myself from maror, which is natural. But another response to having maror is, I want to make sure maror and bitterness doesn't happen to others. I know what maror tastes like and feels like in my life. Now I can go out and try to prevent that from happening from others and feel what it feels like for others. So why is maror the key? Is because it says we must ingest and taste the bitterness so that we can feel and hopefully protect those, sadly, who are feeling bitterness too. You know, the Kutzker Rebbe says there's nothing more whole than a broken heart. And what does that mean? My perush, my interpretation, that the only way your heart really becomes whole is if you've had some brokenness in it. That allows you to have actually a heart, because a heart then goes out to give that heart to others. Why on Passover to remember the bitterness? Why do we remember the enslavement, the sadness, the oppression? Why many aspects of Jewish history, Jewish experience, Judaism? It's not only because it's worth of honor, and it's not only because, if we don't remember these things, sadly it's likely to be repeated. That's another important lesson from remembering the bad parts, the tough parts. But it's also so that we can build up our compassion for others. Right now, locked in our homes, or stay-at-home order, thank God for the vast majority of us probably listening to this, it's terrible. This is not easy. But at least we have homes to go to. Hopefully at our homes we have places of love and support. Even if we're on our own, hopefully we have technology that we can interact with others to at least get some nourishment and social connection, learning. What about those kids or people who are in abusive relationships or have an abuser in their house? I'm thinking a lot about them. It's hard for me in my house, but how much, it's hard for me in my house because I have shpilkas and I got to get out all the time. It's not hard, thank God, because of abuse. What about those in our own congregation, amongst our own people and amongst our own in the world who home is a dangerous place? This is a time for compassion on them, maybe action towards them. So my suffering, my bitterness, ultimately, I believe the Torah's ultimate message should be like the line in Exodus says, you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You know the heart of the stranger. Therefore, you shall never oppress, because you understand what it's like to be a stranger, to be oppressed. Therefore, you should never oppress others. That's the ultimate message of building compassion. So why in the end do we remember so many terrible moments in Jewish history? It's not just to sit and suffer and self-flagellate. It's because our bitterness should inspire us to be even more compassionate and even more loving. So this Passover seder, for those that practice and eat that maror, let a tear come down, but don't let it just be a moment for, a tear came down, or suffer for yourself. Let it be something that motivates to be compassionate and loving. Let your bitter herbs help sensitize yourselves to those in the world who are feeling bitterness now. On some level, that's all of us, but amongst some of us, it's even more than others. Please, God, wish you all a good day, God willing, a sweet day, a safe day, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Shalom.